What's good, Wizards fans? It's your hosts and the real Ed Oliver and Brandon Scott. Today, we're going to talk about some trade rumors for Kyle Kuzma, possibly getting multiple firsts in return, and also talking about Tyus Jones trade rumors as well. And Brandon was at practice today, the Wizards practice. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
So I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. All right, so there is an article going around by Brett Siegel about Kyle Kuzma's trade value and basically Tyus Jones's update on his trade speculation and whatnot. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But Brandon, he now has insight. Now he was at Capitol. He was at the practice today. He got to talk to Wes Unseld Jr. He also got a nice and up close video of Johnny Davis working out. Bilal Coulibaly getting some shots up as well. Got to hear some stuff from Mike Muscala. But you know, as Brandon posted on the Locked On Wizards page, Johnny Davis and Bilal. Check out Locked On Wizards on Twitter. That's where Brandon posted the video that he got today. Posted a couple videos on his page as well, his Twitter page. He said, JD and Bilal working on their jumpers. What do you guys think about Johnny's shot mechanics? So what did you think about Johnny's shots today and what you saw at practice today?
It feels like he's changed shooting styles a few times, man, but it's a lot more fluid. I'll say that. It's a lot more fluid. It's just that the placement, I want to see a higher release point on the shot because, I mean, for you guys to check out the video, look at that Bilal's shot. He's got the high release point, so he's getting there. But, going forward, man, talking about Johnny Davis, I think that he's more of a mid-range guy. I mean, you can just tell with the workouts, man, he's a mid-range shooter. He's a guy who's going to drive the lane more than he will settle for a jump shot. But, I mean, there's potential. I mean, you just got to keep working at it. I mean, I don't think it's broke. I think it's fixable, but it's crazy seeing the evolution of his shot from college to where it is now and how it's changed so many times. But it's getting better. I will say that.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, I see. It still is slow and not as fluid as you wanted to see. Doesn't look the same as he in college. He just wasn't thinking at all. Now he's still thinking, yeah. But he's not dipping down as much as he did last year or in the beginning of the year. So those are some changes that I've seen to his mechanics. Bilal's shot looks really. It's getting better. I'm not saying it's starting to get better, but it looks good. He has a quick release, quick shot, was shooting the three ball well. Just hasn't really gotten the volume in games.
Yeah,
but I do want to see Johnny get some playing time. I know we'll talk about that, if not today, then later. But I would like to see Johnny get some type of minutes. He's collecting DMPs, but we kind of know the situation there. He may not get playing time until after the trade deadline, or he might not even get any playing time and get traded from the Wizards. We'll see what happens with that because I just feel like this regime right now, they're not really focused on Johnny Davis minutes at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I asked Wes, man, and I asked, with Johnny Davis, what's the issue with the minutes? Like, and he said, he flat out told me depth. He's so many people in front of him on the depth chart, and that kind of leads into the question I asked him. With the deadline coming up, how do you prioritize the minutes when you have to showcase your veterans for the trade deadline as opposed to the young guys? You're trying to get them minutes to develop, and he said, look, I don't really pay attention. I don't really showcase. I'm just trying to put the best lineup out there. So, I mean, I get it, the position he's in, man. He's got to say, you can't let on too much of what you're trying to do, but I get it, man. Obviously they're trying to showcase a couple of guys. I mean, let's be real. They're definitely showcase, but it's tough trying to find that balance to try to develop too. And that's why I think that really you're going to see a lot more development and a lot more leeway with these young guys after the deadline because we both said it, this is more of a transitional year because you got to kind of move on from a lot of these veteran contracts, get the assets from them, and then kind of figure out what your identity is going forward. So it's definitely a transitional year for the Wizards, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He some of it is showcasing, some is just West. We've seen his rotations as well, where he'll have some weird lineups in there where he'll play Anthony Gill over Denny, and thank goodness he hasn't done that much this year. Like just giving Anthony Gill 25 to 30 minutes out of nowhere. Shout out to Anthony Gill, no disrespect. But yeah, I mean, you see, I've seen a lot of complaints about Bilal not getting a lot of minutes, not getting featured much, veterans getting a lot of time. And, he's going to say the politically correct answer. He's not going to say that we're showcasing that I got a call or from higher up or, we're just managing the team right now. We're trying to shop guys and showcase them and trying to move these guys before the trade deadline. So he's not going to come out and say that. Some of the lineups are still wonky here and there, but yeah, he's got to play Shamet. Even though Shamet has played well, he's got to play DeLon Wright. DeLon Wright has played well defensively. He's got to play some of those guys so they can get moved before the deadline. Of course, we would like to see more Bilal minutes. And JJ Redick said it on a podcast too, like, hey, give Bilal the keys.
Yeah.
He's your guy. Let him rock. And obviously kind of with this rotation going on right now, it just hasn't really been that way. Some of it is Bilal needs to be more aggressive, but, and then Kuz getting up 38 or what did he shot? Like 30. He shot 18 threes in the game. 18 threes in the game. So, yeah, I mean, he says he's trying to win, but it definitely feels like some of it is some of these veterans just get in and play as much as you can so we can move them, and that kind of ties us into what we're going to talk about with as far as the trade deadline.
Oh, absolutely, man. And the one fascinating thing you kind of realize that these guys realize just like we do what's going on. Like especially the vets, they know it's a rebuild. They know that a lot of them are probably not going to be here after the deadline. Because like I said, one of the first times I went up there, man, I talked to Shamet and I asked him, I said, what's your mind frame, man, going towards the trade deadline? And he said, look, I've been traded before. It is what it is. Like he kind of looked up to the GM office, man. But I mean, they know what the deal is. You know what I mean? They know that this is a rebuild very early on in the rebuild, that a lot of these young guys are going to be the feature pieces going forward. So, like I said, just like we know what's going to happen, they know what's going to happen. But it's going to be interesting. You're going to see a different team after the deadline because there's a lot of talk with a lot of guys on this team. And, we talked about it before, man, Gallinari buyout could be a real possibility, man, because at this point, really, what can you get for Gallo at this stage in his career? Shaman, I think, definitely has value. Tyus, man, you can definitely get assets back for him. Kyle Kuzma, Daniel Gavin's name's been mentioned, but we'll see. But this front office is definitely trying to make some moves because, like, if you look at the business side of it, we said it before when we talked about the news of their potential move to the VA. Look, they're trying to make major moves, and major moves need money, and money depends on a product that's going to compete. So this rebuild, they're trying to get this thing rocking and rolling and get them ready to get down the road, and finally try to compete for a championship. So,
100%, yeah, that move to Alexandria for sure. They got to put a winner product out there. They're going to expect people to make that commute out there and fill up the seats for any stadium because right now it's just not getting it done. So, but that's an awesome question, man. That's a really good question to ask Wes Unseld Jr. to get some real insight and a real answer from. I mean, you're not going to get 100% of the truth. He's going to answer politically like he did.
Yeah.
So, but no, that's awesome. I mean, you're getting some videos of Johnny Davis and his shots and Bilal. I mean, that's good stuff. So definitely check out the Locked On Wizards page and Brandon's page for more insight and updates. I'm gonna get down there very, very soon for some games and some practice for sure. So we can go down there together. It definitely will be a great experience. But we're gonna move on to the news and the article that just came out about Tyus Jones and also Kyle Kuzma and some of their trade value. But before we do that, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make sure you guys check out FanDuel. Right now, the NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays. Find bets in the new Explore tab. Make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. So if you do want to get that $150 in bonus bets, you can pick either DC sports team to lose. You look at the Commanders against the Cowboys, unfortunately, at 4:25 on Sunday instead of 1 o'clock. In Landover, Maryland, or you can look at the Wizards game versus the Cavs tomorrow. Now, the Cavs, Donovan Mitchell is back. If Donovan Mitchell was out like he's been the past couple games, I would say that the Wizards had a small chance, but you can definitely pick the Cavs money line against the Wizards and you should definitely win $150 in bonus bets. Also, you guys, make sure you guys check out Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. All right, so let's look at the article here from Brett Siegel, just talking about Kyle Kuzma's trade value as well. Definitely some surprising things. I'm going to read the article here. It says Kyle Kuzma is expected to be made available by the Washington Wizards for multiple first-round picks. League sources told Clutch Points. In the midst of a career year, Kuzma is averaging 23 points a game, 6 boards a game. One team that has been eyeing power forward help for quite some time is the Indiana Pacers. Tyus Jones is expected to garner more interest in trade talks than Kuzma, sources said. Jones' $14 million contract is very obtainable for various contending teams around the league. So what's your thoughts about the Kuzma news right there and the Pacers possibly being the team interested?
Very intriguing, man. I ain't said that in a minute. Why? Very intriguing, man. I'm gonna say that the Pacers were definitely that name floated around. I know it's the Dallas Mavericks, Sacramento Kings, Memphis Grizzlies kind of popped up lately, but I think it's a good move for both parties. They definitely need a guy who's repertoire for the playoff push, and we definitely need assets or young players back. So I definitely think that could be a big move. Now, 2 first-round picks, man, I think is a little optimistic. I can see one. But I know the market is kind of weird now because there was reports of, the Jazz asking for like 5 first-rounders for Lauri Markkanen. I mean, I don't see that happening, man. But then you can also say that, look, man, that Rudy Gobert trade really changed the scales of what it takes to pull off a major move. But I still don't see 2 first-round picks for Kyle Kuzma. But I'll say this, he definitely has some interest. They definitely are. He's officially. He's available. So they're definitely now listening to offers. So. Again, it kind of reinforced what we said going into the season. He was signed to a team-friendly deal because he was eventually going to be moved. So like I said, I like that decision. I still like the decision. I thought it was really smart to get assets for a player in return instead of just letting him walk. You're definitely going to get some assets back. So I think it's a good move. I think Indiana's a good fit. Now, normally I would try to, I would like to see them trade with a Western Conference team. I don't want to feed the teams that, you know what I mean? But if you find a good deal, you find a good deal. And I think Indiana definitely a good deal. Now, looking at what I want in return, we both agreed that, it's not going to be 2 first-rounders. It's probably going to be a first-rounder and maybe a young player or maybe an aspiring contract and a young player, one way or another. And if you look at young players, especially if, a player like Jarris Walker, that's a first-round pick pretty much because, he's a rookie. So there's options. That's something that we haven't always had in DC with the Wizards, man. There's options now, and I think that the likelihood of him being moved at the deadline is starting to look a lot more likely at this point.
110%. They brought him back here for this reason. A lot of people are upset that Kyle Kuzma was re-signed and brought back, but he was brought back to basically build on assets and to bring back a first-round pick, get some assets for the future, and that's what Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma, he's had a good season. He's done a lot of good things. 23 points a game, 6 boards. He had one game where he triple-double.
Yeah.
The games that we won, he's had some big games, a couple 30-point games here and there. Yes, he shot up. There's been some games where he shot a bunch of shots to get to the 30 points, but he's had a darn good season. He's been a bright spot. He has been the best player on the team. There's not much to stand on with that, but he's done enough where I think some contenders, like the article said, some playoff teams like the Pacers, could definitely use his services. He's won a championship before. Solid defender on a good team. I think he would be a solid defender. Can pass, can get to the basket, can shoot the 3, all that, can defend as well. So yeah, Kyle Kuzma, he's a good player, man, and I think he can really help a team. I think he would be a good fit with the Pacers with Halliburton, pushing the pace.
Oh yeah,
just running and gunning, running the floor, shooting 3s, playing above the rim. So I think he would be a really, really good piece on the Pacers. You look at the Pacers; they do have an extra first-round pick. They have their own 2024 first-round pick, and they have another 2024 first-round pick. Now, there's a lot of moving parts and pieces and protections on the pick. Looking at the listing on the pick, it says Indiana will receive the least favorable OKC's 2024 first-round pick, Houston's 2024 first-round pick protected for selections 1 through 4, the Clippers first round and Utah's first round. So it's a lot of protections on that pick, but you could you could possibly get there first in that. I don't think that will happen. Personally, I think Kuz would get you 1 first-round pick.
Yeah.
Which is still a pretty good return for Kyle Kuzma, in my opinion. When you look at Brad, you didn't get a first for him. You didn't get a first for Porzingis. I think it would still be good if you got a first for Kyle Kuzma. So I think that would be a really good move. And I think his trade value has definitely gone up since the start of the season for sure. And I think a lot of good teams would be looking for him. Like you brought up the Mavericks, the Kings, possibly the Grizzlies. We'll see. But I think a lot of playoff teams would be looking for Kyle Kuzma services. So for 2 firsts, when I heard that, I was like, whoa, multiple first-round picks? I know Gobert got a crazy trade, but, it's still Gobert won a Defensive Player of the Year. I still think he got over. I still think it was a bit much for Gobert. But, if we can finesse the team or not finesse the team, but make a deal and get 2 firsts for him, it would probably be a mid-tier first and then a late first. That's a darn good deal. And those are firsts that you can use and possibly flip or use those first and draft 2 good players.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they have options, man. I mean, looking at who I would want in return. I was looking at, we need center depth, Isaiah Jackson, which we actually drafted. So we actually brought him, he was a Wizard for like 5 seconds. But, Buddy Hield, expiring contract. So maybe, they move the money off the books. I get that. I can see that in the first, but there's options. I think, like I said, the likelihood, because, before we didn't know whether he was going to be gone at the deadline or, off season, how long he was going to be in DC. But look, things are really heating up. I mean, that OG Anunoby trade really was the first domino. I mean, there's a lot of names in the business right now. I mean, Lauren Marketing, Donovan Mitchell, there's a lot of names in the market right now. So I think, we said it before, man, if the market is right, then you got to make that move because they got to get this rebuild rolling. It behooves them to start this thing off. And, this thing, you best believe the second half of the season, man, is going to be dedicated purely to young players and seeing what they can do. Because, I mean, don't forget, a lot of these young guys are auditioning too. It's not guaranteed. I mean, Kisper's coming up next year. Next year's a contract year. Johnny Davis, he desperately needs minutes because really, what is his long-term fit in DC? So there's a lot of questions. This is truly a transitional year. But getting back to trades, man, there's options. I mean, I keep saying that, and I like saying, I like having options. Before it's kind of like we made these weird trades, like the Obi trade was crazy considering Ariza was old and so many questionable trades. But now I'm optimistic at the trade deadline, which I haven't always felt that way. I know this front office is going to try to get a maximum value for what we have, man. And with Tyus and Kyle Kuzma, man, we're going to be able to get a decent return and really kickstart this rebuild. So I'm looking forward to it, man. It's my favorite time of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, speaking of Oubre, right now he had 11 points in the first quarter. He has 16 points right now in the third quarter. The Sixers are winning 73-42 against the Chicago Bulls, which is just ridiculous. But yeah, of course, that Oubre for Trevor Ariza trade, definitely one of the most disappointing trades in the history of the Wizards. Ernie Grunfeld trade right there. But we'll move on to Tyus Jones right there. And so the second part of the article said Tyus Jones is expected to garner more interest in trade talks than Kyle Kuzma. Sources said Jones' $14 million contract is very obtainable for various contending teams around the league. What are your thoughts about the Tyus Jones report?
Oh, same thing, man. And then it's weird because, Kyle Kuzma and Tyus Jones, if we were a team that's trying to compete, I would love them here. I've loved what I've seen from Tyus Jones. He's come in, he's done his job, he's done it at a high level. Somebody's going to definitely need somebody who's going to be able to come in and start. Now, is he a guy who's going to be able to be that franchise point guard? No, I think in this stage in his career, he's a backup, but a guy who can come in and start. He definitely, and he's proven that here in DC. So with Tyus, he's definitely brought his value up. There's a lot of good fits out there. To me, the best fit is Houston, to be honest with you. I mean, you can see maybe an LA team, but I think Houston, backing up Van Fleet, I think would be good for him. They got young talent over there. We'll see. I know you think I'm gonna say Cam more, but I don't think that's going to happen at this stage, man. I think he's going to be in Houston, but I think you definitely get maximum value for Tyus Jones, man, because he's played well. He really has, and his performance has gone up as the season went on. When the season first started, you didn't know what to really expect. Kind of gave off Monte Moore's vibes, like he does his job, but nothing spectacular. But he's really, he's come in, he's played good basketball. He really has, and teams notice that. So I think that that trade for him and signing Kyle Kuzma, they were, in hindsight, obviously, but were really good moves by this organization in the front office because they're going to be able to get some assets back. And especially if you look at Kuz, man, you said it before, E. We didn't get really the maximum return for Bradley Beal, and damn sure didn't get it for KP. So I think with Tyus and Kyle Kuzma, you're going to be able to get assets back instead of getting nothing. You know what I mean? So I like what they're doing. I like where their heads at. I think they're really starting to make good moves to kickstart this rebuild.
100%. Yeah, Tyus definitely is going to garner a lot of interest. Like the article said, $14 million per year, which is a very favorable contract for sure. Tyus has picked it up the last couple games. Ever since that Pacers game, we had 13, 11, and 10, where he had a triple-double. He's just been on a tear. He had 22 points against the Suns, 24 against Portland in a win, 22 against Orlando, 16 against Sacramento, 16 points and 9 assists. So he's really picked it up, and he's gotten more comfortable and really gotten into his stride, hitting the floater, getting some lobs to Gaff, finding open shooters like Corey Kispert or Kuzma for some threes here and there, pushing the pace, getting into the paint, playing his game really well, getting some deflections and steals. He has 6 steals against Phoenix, so he's playing some really good basketball. I think the Miami Heat, they were rumored to have some interest in there, so I think he'll be a good backup guard for them, and will really fit their culture really well with the Miami Heat. So I could see him play well there. What team? You said the Rockets, so he'll be playing behind Van Vliet, playing behind Jalen Green. I could see that too. But Tyus Jones, I mean, he's just a professional. He finally got a chance to start. He's always been behind John Morant. So it was good to see him to get an opportunity to start, and I think he's starting to make the most of it. At first, it was a little rocky, a little inconsistent. Yeah. Same thing with Jordan Poole. They were just trying to get comfortable playing together in that backcourt. Terrible. I mean, not the best defensive backcourt, but they've gotten a little bit better. Not much, a little bit better, but I think they're learning to play with each other, and Tyus certainly has gotten more comfortable in DC. He's played really, really well. I don't think you get a first for him, but I do think you get maybe a player in a second. And maybe if a team really, really feels desperate for a point guard, then they may throw a late first, if that.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, E. Like, if you play the market right, depending on the situation, maybe they need a point guard like right now. You could get a first, but it's all about how they read the market. But you could definitely get a young player back. You definitely get some assets back from. So, like I said, Tyus Jones and Kyle Kuzma, they were good moves by these organizations because you're able to get assets back for veteran guys who are going to be able to go compete on the competing team for a championship. So it's a win-win on both sides.
100%. So we're going to get to the cash preview. Before we do that, we have a quick word from Brandon.
Yes, sir. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Gametime. I've gone through a lot of ticket, companies, Ticketmaster, SeatGeek, but to me, Gametime is the dopest one. It's the best one because you should have to worry about anything when you're buying your tickets to your next event, right? Gametime is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all sporting events, plus music shows, comedy shows, theater events near you. You can see the view from your seat before you buy the tickets, so you know exactly what to expect and what your view is, which is key. All-in prices show your total upfront, so you know you're getting the greatest deal before you check out. Because there's a big one with me. Buying tickets in seconds with just 2 taps. I'm trying to tell you. Gametime has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event, and even an hour after it starts. It's the best place to find last-minute seats. Find exclusive flash deals and sponsored deals and tickets from football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. So all you got to do is download the Gametime app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. And again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Yes, sir. All right, so we're going to take a look at the Cavaliers here. The Wizards play the Cavaliers tomorrow night. Brandon, what's your keys to development?
Man, I mean, I know you said that you don't think it's a winnable game, but look, I mean, Donovan Mitchell, yeah, he's going to be a headache, especially for this backcourt. Yeah. But, I mean, if you look at the injuries they had, man, Evan Mobley's out for 6 to 8 weeks with undergoing surgery, and Garland's out, injured his jaw, sustained a fractured jaw. So I think, if you look at their roster right now, or the depth chart, obviously you got Donovan Mitchell, but Max Strus, that might, Jordan Poole's not the most defensive-minded player, but I think that's a matchup that he can definitely exploit, especially on the offensive end. Isaac Okoro versus Denny, that's a matchup. Jared Allen and Gaff, that's going to be a definite matchup to watch. Jared Allen's kind of a tweener, but, I mean, he's they're very similar players, but we see the same thing about Capella. So we'll see. But I think that is definitely a matchup to look at. Development wise, for the young guys, hey, if you look at the Cavs bench, outside of Karis LeVert and George and Yang, but this is a favorable matchup for Bilal and Kispert to both eat. I think this is definitely a game where you want to see Bilal be a lot more aggressive driving the lane, not hesitant to shoot that shot, and definitely see what he can do offensively. Because I think our bench can definitely match up well against theirs. Because, like I said, your biggest name is Karis LeVert. I mean, George Niang, yeah. I mean, Sam Merrill, Craig Porter. I didn't even know who he was to the day. So I mean,
who he played for?
You know what I mean? Because I saw Porter, I was like, man, I know they didn't bring Kevin Porter back. I mean, so we'll see, man. But I think it's a favorable matchup. So that would be my keys to development. I think this is definitely time for Bilal to eat off the bench. See?
Yeah. Craig Porter, he sounds like a 2K created player. Right. But Sam Merrill, he's been on a tear. He hit 4 3-pointers last game against the Raptors. They lost to the Raptors on the road. The Raptors with Emmanuel Quickly now and whoever else was involved in that trade, RJ Barrett.
Yeah.
But some other guys have had to really, really step up for the Cavaliers with a lot of guys being out. Like you mentioned, Evan Mobley is out. Darius Garland is out. So this is somewhat of an opportunity for the Wizards to, be competitive in this game. I'm not going to say they're going to win, but this is an opportunity for them to be competitive for sure. Okoro's been playing well with 16 points. Jared Allen, the matchup with Gafford is going to be huge. This is a game where if Gafford doesn't play with resistance, then Jared Allen can have a Mark Williams type of game where he can put up 20 points and 20 boards. He just had a 16.11 rebound game. Donovan Mitchell, of course, we know what he does. He can put up 30, 35, 40. He had 26 points in 38 minutes, so he's certainly capable of torching the Wizards for 35 to 40 points. Karis LeVert had 31 against the Raptors. Karis LeVert has been playing really, really well. So he's had to step up with Garland being out, and Sam Merrill had 16. So, the Cavs, they're still a good team, 18-15 this year. Looking at their defensive rating, they're still a good defensive team just because, Jared Allen back there defending the paint. They're 12th in defensive rating. They don't push the pace. They're 23rd in pace, 24th in points scored. So they're not putting up a lot of points. They're 9th in steals, so they force turnovers. So we really got to protect the basketball. Tyus Jones does a good job of that anyway. 2-point percentage, they're 8th in the NBA because Jared Allen's a good finisher. Donovan Mitchell, he gets to the basket a lot. They're 14th in rebounding as well. So they do a lot of the little things the right way. Yeah. Defensively, they're a good defensive team. 10th in points allowed. So this could be a grounded out game. Now I know last game they didn't play well defensively. They gave up 124. They gave up 36 to Pascal Siakam. So they're not the same team that they have been when Evan Mobley is there for sure. So there is some ways that I think we can possibly take advantage of that. But as far as development, I want to see Bilal get some more minutes, get some touches, be more aggressive, of course. Denny keep doing what he's doing. He's been rebounding the ball really well. 2 double-doubles in a row. Let's see if he can keep that up. Tyus, of course, protect the basketball. Kuz, if the 3 is open, of course, take it.
Yeah.
But let's not force up 15 to 18 threes. Now, that's not a normal thing for him. Of course, that's something that, we're not going to normally see him really shoot 10 threes.
Yeah.
But, I would say shot selection for Kuzma. He's a guy who, of course, can go off for 30 whenever he wants to with this roster and with this team for sure. But we want to see some good shot selection for him. And just, ball movement, rebounding the ball, getting back on defense. How are they going to guard Donovan Mitchell? I don't see them doubling him, but I could see they got to stop him from getting in the paint. They cannot let him get to the rack, get to the rim, and get to the free throw line a lot. That's going to be a huge thing for them. And then defending Sam Merrill because he can knock down a 3. Karis LeVert is going to be a tough task too. We'll see if Bilal guards Donovan Mitchell a couple times. I do want to see that matchup as well.
Oh, absolutely. One thing to look out for is pick and roll defense. We have struggled big time. And Jared Allen and Donovan Mitchell, man, they're going to have it. So, they're going to have a field day, man. So they definitely need to work on pick and roll defense with those two. But Donovan Mitchell, man, how do you really stop him? He's one of those players in the league, where you don't exactly stop him. You just slow him down a little bit. He's definitely going to be the focal point. But, I don't want to see double team because we're not fast enough on transition or rotations. And we're so slow to get out the shooters. And that's how they kill us when we try to double team. So definitely, I don't know if we need to go zone or what we need to do, but double team to me does not need to happen because they will definitely burn us. But yeah, no disrespect to San Marino, but I'm just saying. But I'm with you. I think that they could definitely play competitive these next 2 games because the next 2 games it's kind of like the baseball series thing. They got the next 2 in Cleveland, and then they come back home on Saturday. So I think I'm with you. I'm not gonna say they're gonna win, but I think they're favorable matchups where we can see some competitive basketball. My biggest thing with the Wizards, man, is staying consistent and keeping your foot on the pedal. Not playing good one quarter and then lacking in a quarter. I want to see consistent play all 4 quarters. And that's where I'm at with the Wizards, man. I think that should be a milestone with them is seeing they can play a complete game, and not have to play, comeback and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's what I want to see from them. These next 2 games in Cleveland, man, I think they're favorable matchups to where we can see some good competitive basketball.
100%. They got to be physical. They got to gang rebound out there. For sure, getting back on defense and ball movement's going to be huge, too. And I want to see how Jordan Poole plays tomorrow night as well. So I got the Wizards losing a close one. Should be competitive, but I have them losing a close one.
Yeah, I think they're going to split. I think they get a win in Cleveland, either tomorrow night or Friday night. But I think they do split because I think they're going to play competitive ball, man. So they will win one of them. I don't know which one, but they're going to win one of them.
Yes, sir. But yeah, I just want to thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you guys get podcasts. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Hail to the Wizards. Peace.